Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first in-person meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. I'm so happy to see so many faces in person for the first time. You know, we've spent over a year and a half being virtual, so it's good to finally be here with you all and share that human connection. The time is now 1:01 and I call this meeting to order. Director Blake, can you please read the notice of the public meeting?
Chairwoman Wei New. This is a special meeting of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of the meeting was provided to the Asbury Press, Atlantic City Express, Bergen Record, Courier Post, Star Ledger, and the Trenton Times on October 13, 2022. The agenda and information regarding the meeting was also posted on the CRC website, as well as in the building where this meeting is located. The meeting time and location has also been posted on the website of the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission and with the Office of the Secretary of State.
Thank you, Director Blake. And before we take roll call, I just want to note a couple of housekeeping items. First and foremost, for members of the public, if you could please make sure that your phones are on silent. You know, as this is a public meeting, you know, capturing the meeting is fine, but please, we want to minimize disruptions. So keep flash to a minimum if you can, please. Otherwise, please remember to keep your phones on silent. And that will respectfully also apply to my fellow commissioners and staff in the room too. Director Blake, can you please take roll call?
Commissioner Barker.
Present.
Commissioner Delson-Cosa.
Present.
Commissioner Nash.
Present.
Vice Chair Delgado.
Present.
Chairwoman Wei New.
Present.
All members of the commission are present. We now have a quorum. The first order of business is for the commission to go into executive session to discuss legal matters and litigation updates. There are discussions that are not shared with the public. We believe today the executive session should be about 45 minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we go into executive session.
I second.
So moved by Vice Chair Delgado, and I will credit the second to Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on this motion to go into executive session? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. We will now go into executive session. Again, we expect the executive session to last approximately 45 minutes. Staff that remains in the chambers will not be able to answer any questions from the audience, but there will be staff present here. If you need to use the restroom during this time, just note that the restrooms are just through the doors here before you go out into the hallway. We can expect the open public session to resume at approximately 1:50 p.m. Thank you all for your patience. right, thank you for your patience, everyone. The executive session has finished. The time is now 1:58, and we will resume the public portion of this meeting. Before I ask Director Blake to announce the next agenda item, I just want to note, I want to acknowledge that executive session lasted a little bit longer than anticipated. That's why we call it an anticipated duration. But you know, we do want to make sure that the Board of Commissioners for the CRC has enough time to thoroughly discuss any matters that need to be addressed during executive session. So I thank you again for your patience and encourage you all to remain patient. Any and every time executive session runs a little bit long, but we try to make sure that we anticipate the appropriate amount of time that is needed. So we do our best there. Director Blake, can you please announce the next agenda item?
Next up on the agenda is approving the minutes of both the Commission's open session and executive session held on September 9th, 2022. The minutes have been shared and reviewed by the members of the Commission prior to this meeting.
Thank you. If there are no questions or additions to or requested changes to the executive session minutes and the public session minutes, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from September 9, 2022.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the meeting minutes from September 9th,
I second.
2022.
Moved by Commissioner Barker, seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the September 9th meeting minutes, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed to approving the minutes say nay. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
Next on the agenda is the Chair's remarks.
Thank you. I have a few items that I wish to share out today. First and foremost, I want to thank all of the Cannabis Regulatory Commission staff who worked really hard to make this in-person meeting possible. It is not as simple as just reserving a room and showing up, but it takes a lot of logistics. We want to make sure everybody is able to get in here, and I thank you all for all the work that you have put in to make this in-person meeting possible. So thank you. I also want to note that our the Commission had proposed a rule and regulation adopting our initial set of rules and adding new rules to the regulations back over the summer. The comment period for that rule proposal has now ended. Thank you to the hundreds of folks who submitted comments there. Those comments are being reviewed by Commission staff and will be responded to. And so the next steps in the process for adopting the permanent regulations for the Commission include reviewing those comments, making any considering any necessary changes that are allowable, and doing a final rule adoption at a subsequent public meeting. So I just want to note the process there and where we're at in that process. I also want to give a shout out to one of our staff members who won an award for Director of Communications, Tony Blake. She won an award not too long ago for her tremendous work in communications and public relations in the state of New Jersey, and she's done a phenomenal job with helping the Commission get up and running and informing the public of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it with you all in mind as well. So congratulations to you, Director Blake. And apologies for any embarrassment. That's all that I have for today's Chair's report.
Next on the agenda is the Executive Director's report.
Director Brown, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would just like to echo the thanks to CRC staff who worked on this meeting. We counted it up. I think there were over 500 staff hours spent on prep for this meeting. A lot of it on logistics, and Deputy Executive Director Kelly Thomas and Anderson Thomas is really responsible for this just well-run show from the very beginning. So thank you. Thanks to Danny Saeed as well and everyone who worked on this. So I have a bunch of data to share today, and I'll note that the slides for those who are watching online or here in the room, they will be available on our website later. But really going to dive into what's been happening in the medical market post expansion, and I'm going to run through these quickly. And I believe commissioners should have the slides in their binders because they'll be behind the. So I'm going to cover update on the medicinal cannabis program, pricing trends, update on adult use license applications, overview of what's under consideration today, and then just touch on some forthcoming releases and events for the CRC. So we looked at the medicinal cannabis program, specifically enrollment, and this shows what has happened with enrollment post essentially this year, so beginning in January and running through October. And what you see is that around, we kind of plateaued in May and June, and then it has started to come down a little bit following, and adult use sales began in April of this year. Go ahead. That said, we're still enrolling a tremendous amount of patients month over month. And looking at the average new patients enrolled per month, in 2018, that was 2,280. This year, we're still averaging 4,634 new patients enrolling in the medicinal cannabis program every month. This looks at enrollment over time with some key milestones. So you can see at the beginning of Governor Murphy's administration, the 6th executive order directed the expansion of the medical program. The Department of Health implemented that in March of 2018. That kicked up enrollment initially. Then in 2019, the Jay Coney Compassionate Use Medical Cannabis Act was signed in July 2019, and enrollment started to increase even more from the reforms there. NJ Prima was signed February 2021, but we still continue to see substantial enrollment in the medicinal cannabis program. And even today, that has continued, although it is trending down a bit. And this shows the months of this year, the actual enrollment in new patients, and you can see that even in August, almost 5,000 patients enrolled. September, there was a drop to just under 3,000. We looked at transactions too, and transactions, while there still is a dip, it's too early to tell whether it's a trend or just just kind of ebbs and flows of the market, but there's still over 100,000 transactions occurring in the medicinal program every month. When we look at the ounces dispensed in a particular month, again, still continued to see strong utilization. There was a bit of a drop in September, but we don't, it's 1 month. We don't know if that's a trend or not. You can see, and this happens every year, there's always an uptick in April. I'm sure many people know why that is. So, there are ebbs and flows in the market and with demand, and something we're going to continue to monitor. But, the bottom line is we are seeing a bit of a plateau. We'll continue to monitor utilization, but new enrollments do remain strong, and we continue to see strong utilization. And I did want to note that new medicinal-only cannabis businesses are coming into operation and have come into operation over the last 6 months. So Hillview is a new cultivator. Garden State has opened a new medical-only cultivation facility. Sweet Spot is a new dispensary that's been permitted in Voorhees. Medical only. Justice Grown has a medical only dispensary block in Ewing. MPX New Jersey has a medical only dispensary in Atlantic City, and Breakwater opened their second dispensary medical only in Roselle Park. So we are continuing to expand access for patients. We also looked at pricing. And this was initiated because we did get, particularly early on in adult use sales, we did get consumer complaints. And so we looked at, a variety of products offered to medicinal cannabis patients and recreational consumers, list prices in medicinal and recreational markets, and total revenue compared to ounces dispensed to determine, kind of what the actual after discount price was. And so this is a look at the medicinal price per gram and adult use price per gram. You can see prices have been going up slightly, but I come to in the conclusions, it's increasing lower than the rate of inflation. And adult use, the per gram price for flower is about $2 more than the medicinal price per gram. When we look at the medicinal per ounce price, it started the year just under $400 per ounce, and this is list prices. And now in August, it was the average price was $414. We looked at prices at specific ATCs, which you can see here. We've put higher prices in red, lower prices in green. And I'll note the lowest price was Harmony, pretty consistently across the board. Next slide, please. When we look at adult use, prices are higher. We're at about $450 per ounce, and that's been pretty consistent since the market launched. Simple economics here, very high demand, supply, we're ramping up, we're issuing licenses, and we're going to get to some more today. It's still, the price is high there. We looked at vapes. So the medicinal vape price per gram, you can see here, is pretty consistent, about $116. Generally, they're sold in half grams. In adult use, those are about $10 more expensive for vapes. Looking at extracts, in medicinal, currently at about $85. There was a price drop, and the reason you see that here is because we did open up more product availability around the time that adult use started, specifically new types of extracts. And in adult use, prices for extracts is consistent with medicinal. This is the one category where they are consistent at the moment. Adult use is a little higher, but it's really a nominal difference. So here's what we learned. Prices are still high in New Jersey, list over $400 per ounce. Medicinal cannabis menus have been consistently more robust than adult use menus. Prices for medicinal cannabis is lower or equal to adult use prices. And prices have gone up, but less than the rate of inflation over the time we looked at. But we do know that fewer discounts have been given to medicinal patients after adult use sales, because when we looked at the total revenue versus ounces dispensed, we saw an average price go from about $320 to $350. It's still, considerably less than adult use, but it's worth noting. And that is it on the medicinal cannabis update. And now I'm going to move to just an update on applications. We now have over 1,300 applications have been submitted. All of these applications have started the review process. There's only 63 currently that haven't moved to a completeness review. That's the third step in the process. And those are really, applications where there's a priority deficiency or they haven't been assessed for application priority yet. We're now up to 1,072 cure letters issued. The staff is working through these applications. The benefit of the rolling application submission and the priority is that if people mess up their application, they get it back, they can fix it, they can resubmit it. Sometimes that happens 3 or 4 times before they get it right, but once they get it right, it moves forward to the process and moves through the licensing process. So happy to say that up for consideration today is nearly 300 conditional licenses, and we'll get to this a little later, but our first annual and conditional conversion licenses issued by the CRC that aren't expanded medical operators. Lastly, just want to cover on some things. So our metric inventory system is going to be going live. We're working on a specific date there with the industry, working through some kinks to make sure it's as smooth as possible. We did release testing guidance. We're in the process of amending that. I saw some folks from labs in the audience here. We've gotten some good feedback from them on some changes, and so we're going to be making changes to that guidance and reissuing it, as well as with new implementation dates. I wanted to give a shout out to Wesley McWhite and the Office of Diversity and Inclusion because we are, he's working on a couple things. One is legacy to legal guidance, so guidance for I speak fast. Legacy to legal guidance, so it's guidance for people who want to transition from the legacy market into the legal market, and an equity scorecard. So looking at essentially equity reports that we receive from industry operators and being able to distill that down for the public and for us as regulators, for the commission, to understand what's actually happening in the market. And lastly, Justin Rodriguez, our Chief of Staff, and Jesus, Director of Government Affairs, have been working on municipal engagement. We know that there's challenges at the municipal level. They're engaging with mayors, engaging with local officials, trying to educate them about our rules, and that's really ramping up. So thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the commission. Thank you, members of the public.
Thank you, Director Brown. Are there any questions from the commission members for Director Brown on the Executive Director's report? A lot of numbers. I didn't go to law school to do math, but now I gotta brush up on it. But it's very exciting work, indeed, Director Brown, from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. So, kudos to you, Director McWhite, and kudos to our Director of Government Relations, Jesus Alcazar, for the work that they're doing on outreach. It's tremendous. Director Blake.
Next on the agenda is the Audit Committee report.
Great. So for the Audit Committee report, that will be given by our Vice Chair, Commissioner Delgado.
Well, thank you very much, Chairwoman Wainu, and I'm going to keep this very simple, to the point, and succinct. So the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission Audit Committee recommends that funds from the Cannabis Regulatory Enforcement Assisted and Marketplace Modernization Fund be allocated to the Department of State's New Jersey Business Action Center to establish a new program to provide free educational courses, technical assistance in building business plans and completing other aspects of the license application, and mentorship to potential cannabis business owners. The New Jersey Business Action Center proposes curriculum, which includes modules designed to help participants decide if a cannabis business is right for them, business plan development, and as Executive Director Brown mentioned before, legacy to legal course. Some program resources will be targeted specifically to designated categories, which include social equity businesses, diverse-owned businesses, micro-businesses, and impact zone businesses. There will be a 10-week acceleration track to get conditional license holders in this category to annual conversion. I also want to give a shout out to the Melanie Willoughby and her, who is the Executive Director for the Business Action Center, and her Deputy Director, Penny Wild, because over the last several months they've met with cannabis groups, community leaders, and educators and nonprofits throughout the state, and also across the country, to learn what needs to be done. And with their input, the staff, our staff, we've already begun to plan and execute on this. So thank you very much, Melanie and Penny. And with that, Chairwoman Wainu, I turn it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Delgado. Yes, the Audit Committee did a lot of working with the Business Action Center to evaluate their needs, and received a request for support, and with the Audit Committee wholeheartedly supports this program that's being put together by the Business Action Center. And so I actually asked the Executive Director of the Business Action Center, Melanie Willoughby, to come today to provide some remarks so that she can share with the board and the public a little bit more information about the proposed technical assistance program and how people can learn more.
I hope I didn't steal any of your thunder, though.
Thank you so very much. Do I have to push a button?
No,
It was on? Oh, there we go. All right. Thank you so very, very much. So good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman and Mr. Vice Chair, and the commissioners and guests, and certainly all of the staff of the CRC, who we have worked very closely with. My name is Melanie Willoughby, and I am the Executive Director of the New Jersey Business Action Center, which is housed in the Department of State. And I also want to identify Penny Wild, who's our Deputy Director, who has worked very hard with your team to make this possible today. So we're really honored to be named as your agency of choice to really provide this no-cost technical assistance, training, and mentorship to recreational cannabis license applicants. We really feel this is important to ensure that applicants in the social equity, legacy, impact zone, diversely owned, and micro-business categories get the support they need. Their successful participation is critical to really ensure equitable representation of small and diverse cannabis businesses and entrepreneurs. And we believe this assistance is an essential part of our work to really repair the damage to people in neighborhoods that were marginalized and subjected to mass criminalization during the state's cannabis prohibition. For 40 years, the BAC has provided real-time technical assistance and support to businesses of all sizes in New Jersey, from Main Street startups to corporations. And we are proactive and focused on business growth and advocacy. We talk with every entrepreneur and business that calls for help and connect them with resources in and out of government to help them grow and thrive. We even go forth to downtowns to visit with businesses in the downtowns to try to help them when they didn't even know that we existed and were there for them. Now, in the last several months, we've met with many cannabis groups, founders, community leaders, and educators, nonprofits, advocates, and individuals throughout New Jersey and across the country, as you had said, Mr. Vice Chairman, to learn what needs to be in the Cannabis Training Academy. And with their input, we've already begun to plan content with the help of all the team here at CRC to roll out in the first half of 2023. Now, we are going to begin with the 10-week core curriculum, as the Vice Chairman said, and so we are going to have the initial training as a combination of pre-recorded webinars followed by live question and answer sessions twice a month, where applicants can ask the mentors specific questions and receive non-legal guidance and direction. We really feel that that mentorship aspect is very, very important for people to be able to identify what their needs are, where we can help answer those questions. Now, the Academy is going to be taught by faculty who are, excuse me? The Academy will be taught by faculty who are in or have supported, taught, or consulted in the cannabis industry. And we are also going to do background checks on everyone. In our conversations over the last months, we've heard how important in starting and running a cannabis business is in knowing your why. Why do you want to do this? And in my career, I've heard too many times to count that you don't really belong here because I am a woman. I was one of the first 400 women accepted at Rutgers College in 1972, and the first female president elected to lead Rutgers student government. So I actually have heard professors say, thank you, that admitting women to college was going to hurt academic standards. So that is my why, and always has been, to challenge outdated attitudes, open doors, mentor the leaders of tomorrow, and create opportunities. I've been fortunate to have wonderful people who who have believed in me, and I'm proud to be in a position now to pay that forward. So, thank you. So as we build the Cannabis Training Academy on behalf of the NJCRC, we do make a request of everyone here and in the cannabis industry. We need you. You are the boots on the ground with special knowledge, and you are our partners in creating and delivering the best training program ever in the country, is what we're aspiring for. To do that, we invite you to register as a vendor with the state of New Jersey, so you can be considered as an instructor or mentor. And the website is njstart.gov. It's pretty easy, njstart.gov. And we stand ready to build on Governor Murphy's and the NJCRC's commitment, and I quote, to establish an industry that brings equity and economic opportunities to our communities, reduce racial disparities, and help stand up the adult use cannabis industry, end of quote. Help stand up the cannabis, adult use cannabis industry. So the BAC has set up a basic sign-up form for everyone, so we can send out occasional updates, resources, guides, and business tips while we build out the assistance program for the launch. So the page is at, and this is a very long thing to say here, but it's www.nj.gov/state/BAC/cannabis/ or just call me at 1-800-JERSEY-7. That's easy to remember, 1-800-JERSEY-7. So again, thank you, really, for this historic opportunity to help build a successful, thriving cannabis marketplace that is sustainable and equitable. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Willoughby, a trailblazer in your own right, and helping us at the CRC blaze additional new trails
Exactly.
here in New Jersey. When I think this was back when we first launched the CRC, I noted that we are the Garden State, and I intend for us to live up to that reputation in the cannabis space. And the work that that your team is doing and has already done to help new businesses get up and running is greatly appreciated and means a lot for us at the CRC, and I'm sure the public as well. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. If anyone has any questions, or am I?
Any questions from the commissioners?
Certainly.
Madam Chairwoman, I just one brief question. Director Willoughby, thank you again. I echo the chair's comments about you being a trailblazer. I have a simple question. It might have came up in the beginning of your statement. What is the cost for prospective applicants?
There's no cost.
Thought I heard that.
No, there's no cost.
I just wanted you to make that
Just
a little
make
bit
that
more
clear.
Yeah.
All right, no, there is no cost, and that is because of the fact that we have a responsibility in order to provide these services at no cost to those who are in the special sectors, which is the social equity, the legacy, the micro businesses, women, minorities, and veterans, and impact zones. And that is coming from the funds that are part of the sales tax. And so those funds come to the Business Action Center through the CRC, and that is how we're able to put this together. And we are really looking at keeping this very low cost, because we also have other staff at the BAC who is also able to help supplement it. So that this is free, because I know how costly it is for those who are struggling to do this on their own with paying for a lot of professionals to help them. And I think that for those who are new to this, we want to be there for them.
Thank you very much. A very complete and thoughtful answer.
Thank you. Any additional questions from commissioners? No? Great, thank you again, Director Willoughby.
Thank you very much.
And very quickly, before we move on to the next agenda item, I just want to note that and acknowledge the role that the public has played in getting to this point, right? So very early on, we heard from members of the community, of various communities, but the collective New Jersey community, that there were a couple of things that you wanted to see happen to make the dreams of an equitable cannabis industry a reality. That included business development assistance. So I'm so glad that we're able to move forward and get that up and running. We also heard about access to capital, and as was announced a few weeks ago, the Economic Development Authority has been putting together listening sessions to explore opportunities to build an access to capital program as well. And so the CRC's been supportive of their efforts in helping the EDA, helping guide the EDA's program where appropriate. But I want to acknowledge the role that you all, the public, have played in helping us shape this equitable cannabis industry that is really emerging and taking shape for our eyes. So with that, I'll let Director Blake announce the next agenda item.
If you didn't hear Melanie's phone number, or you didn't catch the email, the URL, there's a click through on our homepage, on the CRC homepage, that will get you there. The next item on the agenda is the establishment of the social equity excise fee for 2023.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the excise fee and the recommendations from staff?
Absolutely. So, thank you to the Business Action Center. The way we're able to fund initiatives like the Business Action Center is through the collection of revenue. And I think it's important to acknowledge that equity in cannabis licensing is critical, but there's only roughly 15% of the population that uses cannabis, probably even less than that who want to get into the cannabis business. But the way cannabis and the legal cannabis industry can benefit 100% is by ensuring that we raise revenue and make critical investments in equity in communities around the state, impact zones. And so now that we have data on pricing from adult use, we are recommending the excise fee be adjusted to account for the actual price of retail sale in recreational cannabis, which is $455 per ounce, which would jump that from $1.10 to $1.52 per ounce. The rate was set in regulation in August of 2021, and this is a recommended adjustment based on the actual retail price of cannabis that would increase that to $1.52. Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Brown. Do I hear a motion on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to adopt this resolution concerning the imposition of social equity excise fees on Class 1 cannabis cultivators for the 2023 calendar year.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Del Cid Costo, seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, Director Lake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker? Commissioner Del Cid Costo?
Yes.
Commissioner Nash?
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado?
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu?
Yes.
The resolution passes. The next item for consideration is the extension of conditional licenses.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide the commission with staff's recommendations regarding the conditional license extension?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. So we're still seeing that conditional license holders need more time to find spaces, to lock down municipal approvals, and there's market conditions outside of their control. And so we recommend extending conditional licenses by additional 45-day periods, as we're allowed to do by regulation, in order to help them have more time to convert from conditional licensure to annual licensure. And so we recommend approving, depending on when a license was issued, either 2 45-day periods or 1 45-day period. It's listed in your materials. This will give conditional license holders more time to do what they need to do to convert their license to a full annual license and begin operating in this market.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion on this matter?
Chair, I move to approve the resolution concerning extension of the conditional licenses. Conditional licenses.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid-Coso. Is there any discussion on this motion to extend conditional licenses? Hearing no discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid-Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainer.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next up on the agenda is a consideration of conditional licenses.
Thank you. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of staff recommendations regarding conditional licenses?
Absolutely. And I'll ask Danny to just, as I'm speaking here, click through the slides since we have we have 296 proposed awardees in this initial cohort here. So just keep them up for 20 seconds. And this list will be available on our website immediately following the meeting. So if you don't catch it, you can find it there. So conditional license is the first foray for many, the first opportunity for people to get into this market. These applications have been reviewed for priority, whether they're a social equity business, a diversely owned business, an impact zone business. It's been verified. They've been deemed complete. They've scored sufficiently high on the application to be considered for a conditional licensure. They've received an initial review of qualification, limitations, and review of any financial management or agreements. We've conducted QC, and now we're recommending these 296 awardees for conditional licensure. I'll note, a conditional license doesn't grant you the ability to possess, cultivate, manufacture or dispense cannabis, but it does move you forward in our process. It also gives you an initial indication that you'll be that you have a solid application that you can build on to convert. So with that, these 296 are recommended for approval by the Commission.
I'll ask for a motion on this matter.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the resolution concerning the conditional license application.
Moved by Commissioner Barker. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing no further discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid-Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. The next item on the agenda is consideration of an additional conditional license application.
Thank you, Director Blake. So in addition to the nearly 300 commissions, conditional applications that we've just approved, we actually have a recusal on one additional conditional license application. So in accordance with New Jersey Administrative Code 19:61-7.5, Vice Chair Delgado is recused for matters involving application number, applicant ID number 1965, SVA and J Services LLC, due to a family relationship. Vice Chair Delgado's recusal has been memorialized in writing and submitted to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission's Ethics Liaison Officer as well as the State Ethics Commission. On account of his recusal, he will step out of the room while the board considers this particular application. Afterward, Vice Chair Delgado will come back in and will take up the next order of business. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Director Brown to discuss this one application.
Thank you, Chairwoman Waynu. Ditto to what I said on the other ones. And back to you.
All right. So with that, very succinct summary. Thank you, Director Brown. Do I hear a motion on this application?
Madam Chair, move to adopt this resolution concerning the conditional license application for a Class 2 manufacturer license.
Seconded.
Moved by Commissioner Del Cid Coso, seconded by Commissioner Nash. Is there any discussion on the motion for approving this one conditional license application? Hearing none. Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid Coso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairwoman Waynu.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Now, we need to take a couple-minute break. When the people were passing through here, they knocked my cutoff line, so I haven't gotten about the last 5 minutes.
Okay. With that, I will make on my own motion. I move to that we recess for how much time do you need?
5 minutes?
All right, I'll give you 6.
Thank
All right. For 6 minutes, and then we'll resume in 6 minutes. All right, recess is over, sorry guys. But we have our court reporter here who is transcribing the meeting, and we want to make sure that she's able to capture everything appropriately. So, you're good? All right, excellent. So, we are ready to move on. Director Blake, can you please announce the agenda? Next agenda.
item up for consideration are the conditional conversion applications.
Great, excellent. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of staff's recommendations regarding the conditional conversion applications?
Absolutely, thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to pause for a moment here and just note how monumentous this is for the CRC. There are things that we're required to do by statute. You know, that includes expanding ATCs, and then there's what we've built here, what we've done by regulation, which is to develop an application process that prioritizes social equity businesses, that prioritizes diversely owned businesses and impacts owned businesses. And this is what we did. This is what we built, the 5 commissioners, staff, and this is the first cohort. This is the tip of the iceberg. These are the first new annual recreational licenses that the Commission is considering, including the ability to operate, whether it's cultivate, manufacture, or retail. You know, I just want to thank everybody who's worked on the regs, everybody who's worked on these applications to get us to this point. This might seem like a small number, but as I said, it's the tip of the iceberg, and we're going to keep this moving forward. Like conditional applications, these were assessed for priority. They were deemed complete. They scored sufficiently high to be considered. They've undergone a background investigation and been deemed qualified to hold a license pursuant to our regulations. And Danny, you can put up the list who's up for consideration here on the. These applications are recommended for approval by the Commission. And just a quick note, one of the things that I want to emphasize to anybody who's on this list, anybody who's up for consideration, is that if approved, license holders, license awardees have an ongoing obligation to report changes to the Commission, and we're going to be staying vigilant on things like management services agreements, things like financial source agreements, making sure that they're not predatory in nature, and make sure that they are, in fact, in compliance with our rules. So, thank you.
Thank you, Director Brown. And on that note, if you don't mind sharing a little bit, expounding a little bit more into the process from here for anyone who is approved. That'd be great.
Absolutely. So, for anyone who's approved, they will then work with both our investigations team, again, to look at those agreements, to conduct any further probity review that's needed, that's looking at the source of financing, and with our compliance team to, work towards a final inspection. And once the final inspection is completed, that includes after the facility is built out, after it's ready to begin operating, then the license will be issued.
Do I hear a motion on this matter? If not, I will make the first motion. I'll be happy to do so.
Hold on. Madam Chairwoman, I move the resolution to consider the conditional conversion application for Class 1 cannabis cultivators, Class 2 cannabis manufacturers, and Class 5 cannabis retail licenses.
Moved with passion by our Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso, though admittedly with a little less gusto and passion, but we'll work on that. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Madam Chairwoman, just that the numbers may be small, but they're mighty.
Indeed.
Amen.
Indeed. Couldn't have said it better myself. I'm very happy that we've been able to reach this point. So kudos to the staff, really, who have done yeoman's work and put in a lot of hours to get us to this monumental day where we're able to approve nearly 300 conditional license applications, and now the first ever conditional conversion applications in the state of New Jersey for regulated cannabis. Is there any further discussion on this motion? All right, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cicoso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
An emphatic yes from me.
The resolution passes. Next item for consideration are annual license applications.
Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of these annual license applications?
Absolutely, thank you. So the process for annual licensure is and review is similar to what I went over for conditional conversion, but these applicants did not go through the conditional licensure phase. Conditional licenses are prioritized first, as are their conversions, depending on what type of business they qualify as. Here we have our first slate of annual licenses. These are applicants that applied directly for an annual license versus going through that conditional process. They've been deemed complete. They have scored sufficiently high to be issued a license, and after review by our compliance and investigations team and review by our CRC's Office of Legal, have been deemed qualified to hold a license to operate a cannabis business. Post-licensure process here would be the same as I went over for conditional conversion applications. And I do think it's worth noting for folks who are still in the queue or still working through some things that you can do to ensure that that we can do what we need to as expeditiously as possible. Or when you get fingerprint form from our investigations team, get those fingerprints done immediately. When you get requests from our investigators for additional documents or additional info, respond timely. Those timely responses, that timely information enables us to keep applications moving through the process and keep moving efficiently. With that, and Danny, you can put up the list. These 8 applications are recommended for approval by the CRC for annual licensure.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion from any of my colleagues on this matter?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution concerning consideration of annual cannabis business applications.
Moved by Commissioner Nash. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cicoso. Is there any discussion on this motion to approve the annual license applications? Hearing no discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the
Commissioner
roll?
Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cicoso,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wainu.
Yes.
The resolution passes. The next item for consideration is the expansion certification for Curaleaf.
Before I turn it over to Director Brown to provide a summary and staff recommendations on this extension certification, I just want to congratulate all of the 18 businesses that are the first 18 in New Jersey's history to have to be awarded an annual license. Now, as Director Brown, I will remind those 18 businesses, though, as Director Brown mentioned, this is only the first step in what is a long process for getting the actual license to operate as a cannabis business. And it's my hope that all of these businesses get up and running as soon as possible, and because we need these businesses to be operational to help drive down those prices that Director Brown shared, and we need businesses to get up and running to help us boost some of the excise fee that can then gets reinvested into New Jersey's communities in meaningful ways. So I want to stress that getting these annual licenses is a tremendous privilege, and the CRC is here to assist you wherever we can. But we are also relying on you to be a safe and responsible operator. Congratulations to all 18 businesses, to the 297 businesses that have their that have been awarded a conditional license, and we look forward to seeing great things from all of them as we move forward. With that, Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the recommendations on the expanded ATC certifications?
Yes, and thank you, Madam Chair. You know, as I noted before, there are things that we're required to do by the law, by the statute, and then there's the process that we've built. ATC expansions, it was critical to get this market going. It's in the statute. You know, the CRC is really, we have to follow the law on those things. And here we have up for consideration Curaleaf Bordentown. Curaleaf is currently approved at their 2 other dispensaries. We're required to look at municipal approval, proof of sufficient supply to continue to meet patient need after expansion, plans to ensure patient access, plans to address social equity and safety, compliance with our labor provisions, so ongoing maintenance of a labor peace agreement, as well as compliance with other provisions. Our consideration is focused on patients, number of inpatients enrolled statewide, enrolled at this particular dispensary, inventory. I can tell you on inventory, we looked at Curaleaf as one of the highest inventories in the state. Sales, current medicinal canopy needed to serve enrolled patients, and then the ATC's production capacity. I will note previously, although not part of the consideration here, but in the data slides on pricing, they were the 2nd lowest in the medicinal market on pricing. So the recommendation is that Curaleaf Bordentown has met the statutory requirements, has met the requirements in our regulations. Our analysis confirms that they should be granted expansion, and we recommend that the board approve Curaleaf for expansion at their Bordentown location. And I will note that we are dead serious about ensuring patient access, dead serious about ensuring compliance with the labor provisions. And, if approved, we will have a very vigilant eye on Curaleaf and all the expanded ATCs.
Thank you, Director Brown. Thank you, Director Brown. Do I hear a motion on this matter?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we accept the resolution accepting the certification for Alternative Treatment Center, Curaleaf, New Jersey, Incorporated, to expand retail operations to adult personal use cannabis market.
Moved by Vice Chair Delgado. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Del Cid Coso. Is there any discussion on this matter?
Madam Chair, may I have the floor?
Yes, Commissioner Nash.
I am not fully convinced that Curaleaf has made good faith efforts as it relates to our labor provisions. However, as Director Brown stated, they have met the minimum statutory requirements. With that said, we will be closely monitoring their efforts, and I will add that any other cannabis business, other than a micro business that wishes to do business here, we will be doing the same. I cede the floor back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash. Is there any other discussion on this matter? I think I for one, have also become concerned about some of the actions of this particular entity and its commitments to workers, to safety, and to public health and to patients. I know there's a lot of information that staff review related to these certification materials. There's a lot of information for the commissioners to digest and process as well. I know I need some more time to review some of the material and the information that has been shared. But I think that I do echo your sentiments, Commissioner Nash, that accountability is critical here. And I think this board, if I do say so myself, I think this board really takes its enforcement responsibilities seriously when it comes to making sure that we are setting up an industry that has safe and responsible operators who recognize the importance of our regulations and our rules and adhere to those. Any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Nay.
Commissioner Del Cid-Cosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayno.
My vote is to abstain on this matter. As for the reasons I mentioned before, I simply need more time to review the information that has been provided by staff and become comfortable with making a firm determination. So my vote is to abstain.
The resolution passes. The next item for consideration is an application to change the business name.
Thank you, Director Blake. Director Brown, can you please provide a summary of the applications that were received to change the business name?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have 3 name change requests before the commission. They submitted the required documentation, a letter, filed amendment of the name with the New Jersey Department of Treasury, Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services. This is GLCPC, which the new name would be Re-Up Dispensary, GSD NJ LLC, Garden State Dispensary, and the proposed new name is Air Wellness NJ. And then Middle Valley Partners, proposed new name is Valley Wellness. Since they've submitted all the required materials by regulation, these are recommended for approval. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion on this matter regarding name changes?
Madam Chair, move to adopt this resolution to approve the applications for a name change.
Moved by Commissioner Del
Second.
Cid-Cosa, seconded by Commissioner Barker. Is there any discussion on this motion?
No.
Hearing no discussion, Director Blake, can you please call the vote?
Commissioner Barker,
Aye.
Commissioner Del Cid-Cosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Vice Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Chairwoman Wayno.
Yes.
The resolution passes. Next, we will move to the open public comment period.
All right. So as we begin the public comment period, I want to remind members of the public that you can submit comments to the commission in writing by going to our website, nj.gov/cannabis/meetings. The deadline for submitting written comments for today's meeting is 5 p.m. tomorrow, October 28th. The written comments will be shared with the commissioners and be made public along with meeting minutes. So given the room's limited capacity, if we have anybody outside, I'm looking to our staff, no, we do not, great, perfect. So I don't need to mention that. So speakers during today's public comment period, as usual, will be limited to 3 minutes. So please be mindful of that and can be concise in your comments. Director Blake will call out the names of our speakers. What do we do? 5 at a time? 3 at a time?
5 at a time.
5 at a time. And when it is your turn to speak, please come forward. We have microphone and chair here for anyone. And there is, so if you hear your name called, please prepare yourself to come forward and provide your comments then. Director Blake, I will turn it over to you.
We're gonna do 4 today, just because there are 4 chairs available. So the first person will come here, 3 will sit there, and then I'll do the next 4. Everybody okay with that? Okay. So our first 4, Ron Riley Jr., Cheryl Laurie Powell Escott, Jade Sancho Doser, Cross Bandaria, Delilah Scott. Are any of those individuals present? Delilah Scott, Kyle Albanese, Mally Brandon. Stuart Ferguson, Diana McElroy. Terry Festa. Gabriella Welze. Identify some chick called number and just identify.
Good morning or good afternoon at this point. Diana McElroy, thank you so much for allowing the space to make public comments. I really want to start off by saying thank you. I know you guys have been under a lot of pressure, and I know that all eyes are on you and you've been highly scrutinized. The only thing that I would bring back into light is that we rolled out adult use, we rolled out medical, and I think the education behind it is still not where it should be. I think that we have consumers who are taking this product and don't understand the effects, and we're going to hurt our market if we don't get ahead and really educate the consumer as a safe consumer. So that goes with child safety, that goes with, just the consumption forms and the duration of the product. I think that's really important, and that needs to be a conversation that has to be had. And, I feel like the CRC is the face of cannabis in New Jersey, and I think that's something that you need to get ahead of. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Gabriella Wilday. I'm the CEO of a diversity-owned conditional retail license holder. My conditional license was approved during the last public meeting on September 9th, which was 159 days after it was submitted. After it was approved, I waited an additional 31 days before receiving an invoice from the CRC for the license, which was paid immediately, and then only then allowed for the submission of my conversion application. I have much respect for the work the CRC is doing, and I really appreciate the Herculean task you're taking on to get an equitable and safe legal cannabis market scaled up in New Jersey. Your success is the industry's success. Clearly your intentions are good, and I am passionately rooting for you. With that said, I sympathize with the many other New Jersey applicants who've endured the soul-crushing lack of any sort of meaningful update on their application status from the CRC, and the tragically glacial pace at which applications are receiving determinations. More importantly, lots of applicants like myself took the CRC at their word in the CRC's own published guidelines in subchapter 7.2c that conditional license applications have a 30-day target turnaround time for determination. We created our business plans, made important decisions, incurred significant professional fees and local application fees, and entered into costly real estate agreements based on those targets. Although monumental, the fact that the CRC has only awarded 8 new businesses from New Jersey a license to operate in the adult use retail space is terrifying. If it takes 190 days to review, approve, and award a conditional license, how long will it take to make a determination on a much more detailed conversion and annual retail application as the volume of these submissions increase? At the current pace of conditional determinations at 6 times the target, should we plan for 540 days turnaround for retail conversions and annuals versus the 90 days as published in subchapter 7.9c? This unexpected delay is causing irreparable financial devastation to the very people you're trying to help. As a point of comparison, I'm sorry?
30 seconds.
As a point of comparison, since the March 24th meeting during which Executive Director Brown raised concerns over the readiness of 8 ATCs to expand to the recreational market, it took just 27 days for all 8 to be issued licenses and open for business. Just 27 days to add an April public meeting, to distribute written guidance and suggestions to the 8 MSOs, to conduct on-site visits, recommend the approval for expansion to the Commission. The Commission to vote, license, perform final inspections, generate licensing invoices, receive payment, and issues the licenses to the 8 MSOs.
Thank you.
Progress cannot happen without you. I hope this feedback will serve to motivate you to get New Jersey businesses licensed and operating faster. That's the top priority if this new industry is going to scale equitably.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Christine Bonetti, Lloyd Levinson, David Fetter, Edward Lefty Grimes. Brittany Bonetti, Lloyd Levinson, David Fetter, Edward Lefty Grimes. Smarta, oh, sorry. Come on, sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Edward Lefty Grimes. I'm with SativaCross.org. We're a 501c3 here in New Jersey advocating for cannabis patients' rights and for the rights of disabled. I think you guys are doing a great job. And I do have to mention one thing though. This is something that's very important to me and to our organization and to disabled people. This meeting, I know it's a new meeting and there's going to be growing pains, but this meeting itself violates Title II of the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. You gave, for years, disabled people have been asking for online church, online school, online council meetings, online everything. And for 19 months, we got those things. But we got them for healthy people for 19 months. And now towns all over the state are going back to in-person meetings. And I'm calling it institutional ableism that we see all over New Jersey. And we have to bring attention to this because you have disabled vets that can't take part right now. They can watch it, live stream it, but they can't take part like they could, like we can right now. My friend Jeff Oakes took part from his deathbed, literally from his deathbed with stage 4 cancer. He's Jeff Oakes from Jeff's Law. That's what we're fighting for home grow, for Jeff's Law. And Jeff was the one that took part from his deathbed. And it's something he couldn't do today. He wouldn't be able to do that here today. And I think we should hear from people like Jeff and disabled vets and the sick and the dying people, because you guys are patient focused. I remember you saying you're patient focused. I'm telling you, this is something you guys missed, and you gotta fix that because it's something that really needs to be addressed. And it's an ADA issue. The ADA has a process for doing things like this. You can make changes to disabled rights, but there's a process. You have to have a question and answer period, a grievance procedure, a transition period, and your ADA coordinator would have to be involved in this decision. I guess it would be the Office of Legislative Services at this point. I don't know who made that decision. Is there anybody that made that decision, or was it a group decision? How'd you come to that decision? Can I ask that question?
I'm sorry, can you just clarify which decision you're referring to?
The decision to take the rights away from disabled to speak at these meetings, basically.
So I'll refer any questions to, with respect to rights, to our Chief Counsel, Chris Riggs, who's over here. But I do want to make it known that we have made it known through our website that individuals can, as you mentioned, stream and view our meeting. The submission of written comments is still available for individuals, and unfortunately, we're technologically not able to account for virtual comments at this point in time, but all of that has been noticed, duly noticed on our website. But we invite anybody to participate where they can, and if that includes submitting written comments, we're happy to receive written comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Murder Tooby, Grant Ryder, Tarali Patel, Brooke A. Sherman.
I'm nervous. I didn't think I'd be nervous, but I am. It's an honor to be here today in person, to see a lot of you, familiar faces over the years. I want to start by thanking you guys for all of the work that you've done. I know it's not easy and you're not going to please everybody, but it's hard work that has to happen to create an equitable, diverse industry. I solely want to focus on the proposed amendments to the regulations. I did submit comments in writing, but I just wanted to reiterate that we have an opportunity still to create important changes that will help achieve true social equity and justice, because what's happening right now in the industry, whether it's at the local level or even through this licensing process, there's a lot of predatory practices. And it's, in my respectful opinion, I think it's because of overregulation. And so if you allow the market to flow as it should, it'll create organic growth. And when you ban the ability for individuals, specifically social equity individuals and small businesses, to own multiple licenses, for example, to transfer their licenses without a period of time, it actually penalizes the small business owners. It doesn't hurt the venture capital funds or the private equity, because they're already doing deals that are never going to come to the light to the CRC, and I see it happening, and I want that to stop happening. And the only way we can stop that from happening is if we don't restrict the market and allow for individuals to do as they wish within means, with proper guidance, because these side deals are creating a chokehold on equity applicants primarily. There's egregious terms that happen. People need money. And I know you guys talked a little bit about access to capital, so I really hope that funding comes down, because it's scary to see the rights and their opportunities being taken away from them simply because they need an investment. So despite what the regulations might say, that you can't take on an out-of-state investor as a micro business or as a social equity entrepreneur, you have to hold 51%. These individuals I'm seeing right now giving away 70% of their businesses because they need money, and then that side deal is never getting, it's not getting in front of the CRC, and then what's going to happen is shit hits the fan, and then that agreement comes, now that license is void, it's only hurting the little guys. And so my only thing is, on behalf of the social equity entrepreneurs, the people who are struggling to find access to capital,
30 seconds.
Please consider freeing up the market. Don't restrict the market. Allow husband and wives to hold licenses. You're penalizing familiar relationships. Families should be able to build generational wealth. Why can't we compete with vertical operators that are already existing in the market? So I think I'm just speaking on behalf of everybody to be able to have equal opportunity, because I think that's really necessary. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke Sherman, Abigail Pearl, Julio Casado, Patrick Duff. Identify yourself for the record, Madam Secretary.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abigail Pearl, and I am a researcher here today to comment on the matter of social equity in the state of New Jersey. I'm a New Jersey native, born and raised in Morris County, now residing in Bergen County. I'm also a nonprofit founder and a recent graduate from the University of San Francisco with my master's in nonprofit administration, which I just completed my capstone project for the program titled The Nonprofit Sector and Cannabis Industry, Creating Cross-Sector Partnerships for a Sustainable and Equitable Future in New Jersey and Beyond. In 2015, my father received probation for cannabis-related crimes while I was in high school, which is part of my motivation to pursue this topic. So when Phil Murphy boldly proclaimed on the first day of recreational sales, it is a moment that required long hours of work to make sure we got it right the first time. I was baffled. When I told Ali Jamalian, an interviewee of this research, who is the chair of the Cannabis Oversight Committee in San Francisco, he laughed and called the work that the New Jersey CRC had done in terms of social equity a joke. It would be a disservice to myself and my community as a researcher if I did not come before the commission today to discuss this. The most important finding from this research is how crucial cross-sector partnerships with those most affected by the war on drugs truly are to upholding equity in this industry. While CREMA vows to use the social equity excise tax to financially support these crucial cross-sector partnerships, damage continues to be perpetuated, especially with today's Audit Committee announcement. Although the collaboration with the Business Action Center will be beneficial to social equity applicants, as a nonprofit under the Department of State, I question whether or not funding will be available to 501c3s that are not directly tied to New Jersey government. This is, simply put, not equitable to those grassroots nonprofits who have been on the ground supporting social equity since day one. Nonprofits who I interviewed for this research, like Minority Cannabis Academy in New Jersey, noted that funding is a major roadblock for them currently. This issue is a direct result of not putting social equity at the forefront of cannabis legalization in New Jersey, and is going to continue to cause problems if not fundamentally changed today. I am here today to make a public comment to ask the CRC to put more focus into the people who built this industry and consider partnerships past government offices. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Melody Molinaro, Molly Hartman Lustig, Esquire. Ashley Walsh, Osbert, or Duna.
Hi everyone, I'm pleased to be here with all of you today, and thank you to the CRC for providing this platform. My name is Melody Molinaro, I'm a co-founder of Cognitive Harmony Technologies. We're a small tech company with a big idea: help create $1 billion in wealth for underrepresented communities through cannabis business ownership. For the past 2 months, I've been interviewing applicants with priority status for the CHT Accelerator Sponsorship Program. We're providing sponsorship winners with mentorship, education, SOPs, narrative documents, and access to our tech platform free of charge. I have learned a lot during these interviews, and I would like to share it with you. I'm sure you all know that the licensing process is complex and expensive, and we've developed tools to address those issues. But the issues we can't address are the ones that bother me. For instance, social equity applicants Candace Johnson and Charles Benson of Jersey Shore Extract spent their life savings and retirement, over $40,000, to get conditionally approved for a Class 5 retail license in July. They paid a $10,000 license application fee for their local township approval, which was denied. At $10,000 a pop, they can't really afford to apply again. They have secured investment capital, but it is dependent on municipality approval. Candace and Charles have 3 children, and they are out of personal savings. They're in danger of losing their license if they can't raise enough money, apply, be awarded local approval, and submit a complete conversion application within the allotted time period. Nordia and Darnell Gibbs of Pure Natural Vibes LLC, a diversely and veteran-owned business, were conditionally approved for a Class 5 retail license on July 29th. They submitted an app to their local municipality back in April. Darnell is a veteran, a police officer, and an active Air Force member. They secured a location, they paid for a traffic study, and they spoke to all of their potential neighbors. It took 6 months to get a response from their township in which they were told their location was too close to another previously approved dispensary site. Now they have a very short amount of time to find a new property, negotiate a lease, reapply, be awarded local approval, and submit a complete conversion application. Quite simply, a 45-day extension on conditional licenses is not enough. And if you have to wait 6 months to hear back from your municipality, 90 days won't be enough. 6 months won't be enough.
30 seconds.
On the bright side, our sponsorship program is designed to accelerate the license application process, and we're thrilled to begin our work with inspiring entrepreneurs of New Jersey, including people like Charlana McKeithen, a cannabis educator and advocate, Carl Burwell, who is the owner of Garden State Health and who was previously convicted of a cannabis-related offense, Brett D'Alessandro, who is the founder of Backpacks for Life and an advocate for veterans' mental health. If you want more information on our sponsorship, we would be happy to speak with you, and you can contact us.
Thank you so much for your comments. Molly?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Commissioners. My name is Molly Hartman-Lustig. I'm an attorney in New Jersey, and I have the pleasure of representing many cannabis applicants throughout the state. I'm definitely going to echo the sentiments of some other speakers today. The first thing I'd like to talk about, and I did submit a comment on the proposed regulations, is NJAC 17:30-6.8G1 concerning familial ownership of licenses. This one hits home for me. There are many families out there who are estranged, and it would be quite inequitable to prohibit a sibling who's been estranged from their sibling for a period of 20 or more years from both holding licenses in cannabis. If you consider that they haven't spoken to each other in 20 years, they would have no idea what the other one was up to in a business context, and so there ought to be some type of waiver, either by way of certification with an affidavit or some other type of evidence that there is indeed an estrangement, and that provision should not apply or at all. The second comment that I'd like to make, and I do thank the Commission for an additional 45 days for those licensees who've already received a 45-day extension, and then for those licensed after, conditionally licensed after September 9th. But as the last speaker said, it's not enough. The problem lies in the disconnect between the requirements of the CRC for conditional conversion applicants and what the municipalities themselves are requiring. And it's not a willful ignorance. They don't know, and they're not educated. And so towns don't know what to do, and applicants don't know what to do. They don't know whether a zoning determination letter is acceptable for zoning approval, which says that it shall consist of a letter or an affidavit. If you ask most zoning officials throughout the state, they don't know they don't do affidavits. That's not a thing they do. So a letter with a zoning determination, applicants don't know if that's acceptable. And then there are towns that have a much more complex conditional use approval process through their planning boards. And those are the planning boards that take on some of the zoning board responsibilities in certain municipalities under municipal land use law. So I'm asking, you know, I was very happy to hear that Mr. Rodriguez is liaising with the municipalities. There just needs to be a lot more work. And what this is all going to lead to, and we're already starting to see the lawsuits, is the confusion subjects towns to not only internal appeals, but to litigation by way of actions in lieu of prerogative writ in the Superior Court with respect to violations of municipal land use law by those planning and zoning officials. And not only that, we're not even taking into consideration that this subjects the municipal officials themselves to violations of the local government ethics law. And then, of course, the New Jersey Civil Rights Act under 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. And now we're in federal district court. So I'm seeking some more liaising. I don't know if that's even a word, but as much liaising as we can with the municipalities. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Osbert Ardona.
Well, the clock's on already. Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners, and members of the CRC. My name is Osbert Arduna. I'm the CEO of a dispensary applicant called the Cannabis Place. First, I'd like to say thank you. We were on the list today, and we're more than thrilled. That's an understatement. I'm here today as the co-chair of the National Hispanic Cannabis Council Tri-State Chapter. Recently, the NHCC Tri-State held the first Latino Education, Empowerment, and Employment event in Jersey City. On behalf of the National Hispanic Cannabis Council, I would like to thank you for your support, for helping make the event a complete success. But today I'm also here to highlight an issue that we have identified through our meeting with other New Jersey cannabis conditional license applicants. Actually, some of the other speakers before me have spoken to this point. We have been told by multiple recipients of conditional license application approvals that once their name is read off at a CRC meeting, it takes a month before they receive the ability to pay for their conditional license fee before that fee appears in their portal, thereby creating a 4-week delay in their ability to move forward with their state licensing process, including delaying the ability to file, for example, conversion applications if they were ready to do so. When a person goes to any other state agency, if they have to pay a fee, they're able to do so immediately. The CRC and the cannabis businesses should be treated like all others doing business with the state. This 4-week payment fee delay only further harms social equity, minority, women, and disabled veteran-owned businesses. Businesses that are ready to convert should be immediately prioritized and approved to stop the cash bleed out that this 4-week delay causes. As the commissioners have stated, this process in New Jersey is being looked at as a potential example for other states. Small businesses are ready to move forward and should not have to wait 4 costly weeks just to pay a fee that only opens up the door to the next steps in this lengthy licensing process. I thank you for your consideration of this and any potential changes that may come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move on to the next speaker, I want to
Since it's been raised a couple of times, I want to give Director Brown an opportunity to respond to some of the concerns around the process.
So I just wanted to level set expectations for conditional license holders, and this is true for anyone who's approved today, whether for a conditional, for annual, for conversion. Following meeting, there's a final agency decision that's issued. That's comes from the board, signed by the chair, and then the process to get that invoices started. The conditional license clock, so you know we extended hundreds of conditional licenses that needed more time. That clock doesn't start until you actually get the license. So I just wanted to make sure people knew that. You know, otherwise our licensing staff is doing tremendous work. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Blake. Move on to the next speaker, please.
Zach Paxson, Violetta Peters, Lori McHugh, David Nicholas.
Identify yourself in a second. Good afternoon. My name is Violeta Peters, and I'm representing Empire Dispensary. We were not on your list. And I just wanted to explain, for one thing, I'm very thankful for allowing us the opportunity to speak at a meeting such as this. I know it's a very difficult thing to do, to allow for public comment. We are a group of residents of Long Branch who decided to apply for the intent of a dispensary in our community. We are committed to our community. We do not have any kind of legal representation or any other kind of a speaker for us, and maybe that was our mistake. This is the first time, obviously, that I come physically to one of your meetings, and it's been very helpful and very educational. I personally am a Puerto Rican a person who have been, I've been in healthcare and administrative roles for many, many years. I recently retired, and I certainly understand and I approve of the cannabis and how helpful it can be to those individuals for many, many reasons, with many, not just health problems, but mental issues and all kinds. So I'm a proponent of our program. And on the intent of our governor, who said that we wanted to provide these services to the community, I just wanted to ask, part of it has been answered with some of the other comments as far as the time frame for when you apply. When we have received no communication since we submitted our application. So I guess my question to you really is, do I look at a website? I have signed up for newsletters and try to have some communications, so just so that we know what our next steps will be. Because we're on our own. We're only 5 individuals from the community. We're long-term community members, and we do have a location. We have, all the necessary documents have been submitted. So at this point, we're just waiting for some kind of an answer or a means so I can get some answers to where we go next.
I'll see if Director Brown wants to address the process for acquiring. We're handing it over to Deputy Executive Director Kelly Anderson-Thomas.
Good afternoon. Empire? Yes. If you can send an email to our email address, crc.licensing.nj.gov. Just leave me your name, your application ID, the name of your business, and I'll get you an update.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Deputy Anderson.
Dan Rogers, Timothy Finnerty, Leo Bridgewater, Sapita Artis Mills.
I'm here.
Mr. Bridgewater.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're excited, but
I apologize. I'm here. I apologize.
please go, please.
And my phone just died.
You know what you said. You got it.
I apologize. Good afternoon, everyone. It's just a surreal moment. I'm not accustomed I'm more accustomed to seeing, Diana, Jeff, and Charles sitting here and up there. So this is blowing my mind right now. I want to say thank you for your service, particularly since legalization has happened through ballot referendum, and the incredible amount of outreach, particularly from Director Wesley McWhite. What was done here today, particularly when it comes to the technical assistance program, is historical. No state in the history of this country has officially acknowledged the legacy aspect of this industry, much less acknowledged communication in a way that I've seen since legalization. I want to say thank you to each of the commissioners. I have seen Maria out there beating the pavement, talking to people. I have seen Diana beating the pavement, talking to people. I've seen Krista Nash out there beating the pavement, talking to people, talking to the people who are not normally talked to, but talked about, and not allowing others to dictate for them what social equity means, having a say-so. I've been saying this for a while now, particularly here in New York, New Jersey, but also going to New York and saying, you know, to have a state officially talking and making policy is something that New Jersey is poised to be, or is now, the jumping off point for the next evolution of the cannabis industry. What you all have done and been doing and are continuing to do is setting a standard for other states who are considering legalization and will now take this workable model and work with it. States who have already legalized will take this work and redo what they have done. I'm watching. And so because I have 10 seconds left, I just want to say thank you so much for your service. I look forward to all that is to come, and thank you.
Thank you. Safita?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Safita Artis Mills. I am president and co-founder of the United Empowerment Party, which is a political party registered with the FEC that focuses on cannabis. And kind of piggybacking off of Leo, I have had the honor and privilege of working with New Jersey CRC, as well as my peers, Leo Bridgewater, Reggie Redman Noble, which is one of New Jersey's own, Tucky Blunt, DC Scrogger, Shice Bubs, just a few of us. There's a few more that I can name as well, but I feel that it was very intentional and purposeful for New Jersey to create the technical assistance program. The legacy men and women have been forgotten in this industry, and I wanted to say thank you for not forgetting them. These are people who have been working for years, providing medicine to patients, and they have been in the community. And I always speak of the 3 C's, which is community, culture, and collaboration, and that is needed in this industry. And for New Jersey to take the time and say, we're not going to forget these individuals, and understanding that they were building these businesses out of necessity, and they've had to operate in the shadows for a very long time. So giving them the opportunity to go from legacy into legal spaces and giving them mentorship and providing the opportunity for them to continue to take care of their families and thus create their own legacy in a new space, I think is extremely important. It's a big piece of equity empowerment, which is empowering people and communities to be able to create their own opportunities in a space where they never had that opportunity before, understanding how they have been disproportionately impacted. So for New Jersey CRC to do something like this, and for me to be a part of it, and to be able to say today, now that I can, that I've been instrumental in that, I think it's something that is going to be very important into taking this proof of concept or workable model into other states. And I think it's important for states to work together, being that there is no current uniformity across the country, and someone has to be able to set that blueprint. So thank you.
Lemuel Edwards. On deck, Alfonso Tucky Blunt Jr., Carissa Miller, and Kristen Good.
I'm going to just echo what my friends and my colleagues have said. One, I want to thank you guys. I'm out of DC. I'm one of the biggest advocates in DC when it comes to our social equity and our legacy program. Well, we don't have a program, but what you know as DC's Wild Wild West. Thank you. I want to thank you guys for listening to us. Even opening the doors to have that conversation when Leo called me up and asked would I be a part. Yes, I would be a part. I've been teaching in DC, basically people how to fish I teach self-sufficiency. There is no regulation really in DC, so there is no enforcement, just frank, be honest with you. But I teach people how to be sufficient. I once ran a law firm from the age of 23 to 35. And during that time, I also had to grow at the base of the law firm. So my wife gave me a choice, and I chose cannabis. And I've been teaching since. So I just want to thank you guys for listening to us. This is the first of its kind. We've talked about this amongst ourselves and what could be possible. We have a workable model that New York will mimic. But you guys are the first, and I just want to thank you. I mean, that's really from the bottom of my heart. It's something that a lot of people, when I started this journey, there was nobody that looked like me that even had a license. There was no African American with a license of cultivation or manufacturing. So those wasn't on my goals, on my goal board when I started. But since then, took you being an example of the first social equity licensee ever in the history of social equity from Oakland, and just working with other like-minded individuals so that we can put this together. It's always a few people that put it together, but without you guys, it wouldn't have been possible. So I want to thank you. I want to thank Wesley. Wesley, we cannot thank you enough.
Forgot I signed up. Hello, how y'all doing? I am Alfonso Tucky Blunt. Yes, that's my real last name. I've been selling cannabis since I was 16 years old. I am the first ex-felon for selling cannabis to have a full retail shop and now a cannabis consumption lounge in Oakland. My store is 13 blocks from where I caught my case. So this type of stuff means something to me because I would be legacy if I never got snitched on. You understand? I only qualify for equity because I was snitched on. Do people like me who are legacy not get into space because they're not equity? That's BS to me. So to be able to be part of this, for Leo to call me, for Wesley to reach out and actually ask for our input in something like this, when they called, I was like, yeah. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I didn't do it for like, well, what are you going to give me? I did it because we need to be able to share what the blank we're going through so other people don't make the same mistakes. So thank y'all for doing this. Oakland started something, but they didn't have it right. You know what I mean? You got to adjust. You guys reaching out to people like us to help craft what it is you're doing for people like us means something. So I just want to make sure y'all know that we appreciate that. I initially wanted to come out here to open the store, but I don't even care about opening a store no more. I'm here now to mentor people so they can open stores. So that changed my whole perspective. Thank y'all.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Kristen Godey from Tricom Analytical, the first licensed cannabis testing laboratory and the only non-MSO laboratory in the state. I wanted to use this time to bring awareness to an issue that is plaguing the cannabis industry, laboratory shopping. Throughout the process of testing, end results can be influenced by how a sample is handled during the intake, preparation, and analysis process. Unfortunately, some labs take advantage of the lack of regulatory oversight to purposefully alter testing data, reducing levels of contamination like yeast and mold, or increasing levels of cannabinoids and terpenes. Corrupt labs have also...
Can you speak up, please, or get a little bit closer to the mic?
Sorry about that. Should I start over? No. Okay. So I'm Kristen Godey from Tricom Analytical, the first licensed cannabis testing laboratory and the only non-MSO laboratory in the state. I wanted to use this time to bring awareness to an issue that's been plaguing the cannabis industry, laboratory shopping. Slower? I'm not going to fit.
I'm the oldest person up here, I'm hard of hearing.
Okay, well, so throughout the process of testing, end results can be influenced by how the sample is handled during the intake, preparation, and analysis process. Unfortunately, some labs take advantage of the lack of regulatory oversight to purposefully alter testing data, reducing levels of contamination like yeast and mold, or increasing levels of cannabinoids and terpenes. Corrupt labs have also been caught completely fabricating data when instruments are down or samples are backlogged. All of this is accomplished through a number of ways that are not easily identifiable, including improper sample manipulation, like subsampling more kief than flower, data fabrication, and poor quality control practices. And unfortunately, it's everywhere. In Oklahoma, a lab was caught fabricating solvent, microbial, and heavy metals results to pass samples. In Washington, a lab license was suspended for falsifying potency data on over 1,200 samples. In Nevada, a lab was caught intentionally passing products that should have failed for microbial contamination and inflating THC results. In California, a lab admitted to falsifying pesticide data for more than 700 batches over a period of 4 months. Just last month, Florida fined 2 laboratories using unapproved methods for microbial analysis and 2 more for potency inflation through improper reporting. After THC levels peaked at an impossible 40% in Oregon, the OHA released an audit confirming instances of lab shopping as an effect of low regulatory oversight and stated, quote, "Without a mechanism for verifying results, Oregon's marijuana testing program cannot ensure that the results are reliable and products are safe. What is the purpose of testing if the results cannot be confirmed? Accurately tested products not only keep consumers safe, but allows them to dose effectively. When consumers don't know the level of active ingredient there is in a product that they're using, they're less able to effectively moderate consumption and figure out what works for them. Some consumers have had enough. Class action lawsuits are being filed across the country, with one as recent as last week in California for potency inflation. We can also look at the recent RICO lawsuit initiated by patients within the Arkansas medical program that alleges intentional potency inflation. But patients shouldn't be the ones initiating laboratory accountability. State oversight of operational laboratories is critical in this industry, especially now, as more license holders come online. Routine data review and establishing a state reference laboratory are among the first steps that must be taken to ensure safe and accurately labeled products are available for consumers. I urge you to take immediate action to deter and prevent laboratory fraud by working with scientific experts to develop a robust laboratory governance program that will help support compliant and honest businesses. Thank you for your time.
Timothy Parson, Sarah Aarons, Grayson Rich, Jessie Marie Villers, Ali Wallen Gala, Afia Dash. Are any of those, okay, so these are our last 2.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. It is an honor, as always, to have the opportunity.
Please provide your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Jessie Marie Villers. Again, thank you for the opportunity. I'm the owner and CEO of Baked by the River Dispensary, a Class 5 conditional microbusiness licensee, and also CEO and founder of Cannabis Equity Employment, an online employment platform specifically helping to connect people who've been directly harmed by the war on drugs to find job opportunities in the cannabis industry. I would like to speak to my experience as a microbusiness conditional licensee. First, I would like to commend the Commission for making these license classes available. Both the microbusiness and the conditional classification provide opportunities for more than just large corporate entities to enter the industry. It is the reason that I'm standing here today as a licensed business owner, and so I don't take these benefits or prioritizations lightly. As much as these classifications are there to help small businesses like mine, they unfortunately are also having some unintended consequences. The limitations the Commission has placed on microbusinesses puts us in a competitively disadvantaged position. My dispensary is the only microbusiness opening in the small city of Lambertville, so I will be the only business that needs to limit the amount of business I do because of the number of employees I can have at a single time. Something that I want to prioritize in my business is I would like to be able to offer job opportunities to individuals who have disabilities. Unfortunately, because I can only have 10 employees, I need to require that all my employees to work full-time just to cover the hours that we're open. And many of the job candidates I've already talked to can't commit to full-time for a variety of different reasons. If we are able to hire more employees, I could offer flexibility of part-time employment, which would allow my business to employ a greater diversity of people. The space restrictions placed on microbusiness cultivators are also putting their businesses in a competitively disadvantaged position. I would also like to discuss the conditional licensing process. The tight timeline that conditional license applications is putting conditional applicants' businesses in a very vulnerable position. It is great to see that the Commission is granting extensions but 45 days, as other people have said, is not enough. I would like to encourage the commission to be as lenient as possible with those extensions, because a hard deadline can put conditional licensees in a vulnerable spot when negotiating for funding and real estate. I would also like to encourage the commission to do everything in your power to legalize home grow, especially for medicinal patients. That's the end of my statement today. Thank you so much for the time.
Good afternoon.
State your name for the record.
Yes, I have my notes on my phone. Excuse me. Good afternoon, everyone. Your time is very much appreciated, and I'm honored to be able to speak before you this afternoon. This is very new to me. I'm new to the cannabis industry, but not to activism. I'm going to make this brief. My name is Afia Dash. I am part owner and Director of Sales for Cannabis Equity Employment. Social equity in the cannabis industry is a moral imperative. To say that our Black and brown brothers and sisters built this industry with their blood, sweat, and tears is an understatement. Now, when I think about dispensaries opening up I feel that it's almost like we grew and tended the crops whilst the powers that be reaped all the benefits and controlled the narrative. At job fairs, at conventions, I meet so many gorgeous people who are unable to find jobs, let alone jobs within the cannabis industry due to their past convictions. It's just a travesty. And the CRC in New Jersey is supposed to be setting the standard, and I think that we can just do a little bit better in terms of social equity hiring. New Jersey is actually here to set the standard, walk the walk, talk the talk, and we can truly make this come to fruition. I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. I now reside in New Jersey. Near Allerton Avenue and White Plains Road, northeast.
Eatonwall Projects.
Got it. Yeah. So I was born in the back bedroom of my mother's bedroom in Gun Hill Projects. So very close to Eatonwall. I saw firsthand the effects of the war on drugs. Black and brown people who have had a past cannabis conviction or who are from impact areas absolutely deserve and demand a seat at the table. Cannabis Equity Employment is trying to bridge that gap, and I just wanted to say again, social equity is a moral imperative in the cannabis industry. Full stop. So the nation's watching, and we can lead by example. Thank you very much.
Chairwoman Wayne, that was our last public comment speaker.
Thank you, Director Blake, and thank you to everyone who provided comments this afternoon. That concludes the business that we have before us today. Is there any other business that the commission needs to attend to?
Chair, just want to recognize and thank the legacy operators that spoke. Words can't express the impact that they're going to have on the industry, on real people and real families, real communities. And so just wanted to thank them for stepping up. I know Director White reached out. He's been doing a great job putting that together. And so just want to give a hat tip to the work he's doing, the work that the legacy operators are doing to step up. It is very, very important and invaluable.
Thank you, Commissioner Barker. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chairwoman, I move that we adjourn.
Second. Moved by Vice Chair Delgado, seconded by Commissioner Del Secoso. Is there any discussion on this motion? No, look at that. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Any? All right, one abstention. One nay. Sorry, Commissioner Barker, would you like to recast your vote?
No, I'm a firm Aye.
Okay, all right. All ayes. All right, the motion passes, and the time is now 3:55, and we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.